Greetings YouTube, this is Toy Customizer Wake Angel 2001 bringing you part 3 of Camunon's commission, Memellow the Gizoid. This is the first time I've ever made a Gizoid character, although it's not the first time I was ever asked. I had always hesitated because I had no idea what toy would actually be useful as a base, and I wasn't confident in my ability to scratch build anything that would be durable and still able to pose. That is until a couple of weeks ago when some new Star Wars figures came out. Yes, this little pit droid. It's from Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. It comes in the Rats Tyrell pack. You may remember Rats Tyrell as the only character in the infamous pod racing scene that actually died when his pod crashed. Yeah, that's quite a distinction. The only one that died in that race. So, the pit droid's articulation may be relatively basic, but it does have some, which puts it head and shoulders above anything else I could figure to use. And unlike the battle droids from that toy line, it's actually about the same height as Sonic. So, by that extension, it's the proper size to make a Gizoid. Alright, so task 1 was to take this thing's scrawny little, torso with a gaping hole in the stomach and, fill it up so that it looks like a proper Gizoid. I had to be careful not to get into the shoulder holes, although I did give him his little backpack. It kind of looks like a jetpack thing, but I never actually saw Emerald use it in either the Sonic X anime or the video game. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be like a jetpack, which it slightly resembles, or a battery pack, which it probably is. Though, I'm not really sure. Then I gave it a proper coat of paint, and I know it's really hard to see because it's red on a slightly darker shade of red, but there is a letter M next to a somewhat checkerboard looking pattern. That's Memellow's chest plate decoration. It's a letter M, as much as I could paint it at this tiny size. Next is the arms. They're just little cylindrical bits. They don't really look at all like a Gizoid's. So I had to cut off the little clampy hand that the pit droid comes with and replaced it with a fist from a Sonic figure. Then, using a little bit of polymer clay, I built up the forearm and the shoulder to bear a much stronger resemblance to what a Gizoid's arm is, and then I stuck it back into the body. Hopefully you can see the painted M and checkerboard pattern in this photo. I bring it up as often as I can because I worked hard to paint that. Did I say polymer clay? I meant Super Sculpey. That's the stuff that I use. Anywho, the leg is very much the same deal. It doesn't look much like a Gizoid's leg. And I had to cut off the little foot it came with so I could stick on a shadow foot. Then I sculpted the big, gigantic calf muscle thing. I don't know what you would call that. It's just a big fat calf. Mega Man has them too. And of course I filled in the soap shoe gap in the bottom of Shadow's shoe to make it into a flat shoe. And then I gave it all a really nice coat of paint. Made it look real super hot. And if you can see in the back of the heel, he has little musical notes on his heels. Yeah, for some reason Memellow seems to have like a musical theme going on about him. He's like the dancing Gizoid. At least that's what he is in my imagination, because I don't really have much, character information about people's fan characters. I just make them. So I reattached the legs to the body. I sculpted on a couple of little balls on the hips because Gizoids have little balls on their hips. And I took a quick front and back to show off his paint job one more time. That was about as much as I could do with the pit droid, because I would have to scratch make his head. The head is pretty much a solid ball of Super Sculpey. There's panel lines for his mouth that I put in with an X-Acto knife, but it's not really visible until painted. And I think he has a pretty nice little head thing going on, with the headphones that have a little musical note on his ears. Of course, to put it onto the body, I had to take a Dremel attachment with a drill and drill in a neck hole so that it would fit on the very long neck of the pit droid body. Let's see what that looked like. And here he is, the essentially completed Memellow. what I mean essentially, this is his completed form. He still has the articulation, the hips, shoulders, and neck. Sadly, the limbs were too thin for me to put any meaningful elbows or knees in there. I'm sorry about that. But he does look like a Gizoid, and although he has the big failing of action figures, that is a pre-posed limb and that bent elbow, I think it actually kind of helps because the way that you rotate it, it can still look like he's like doing a fist pump or he's dancing, which I think looks kind of cool. In fact, you just take a quick look to see Memellow doing the moonwalk. I'll shut up now. This has been Toy Customizer Wake Angel 2001, making my very first Gizoid. Have a good day.